My final guest tonight is just returned from Hollywood, where he was nominated for an Oscar for Best Actor. He didn't win it, but in my humble opinion, he was robbed. One critic described him as the British theatre's greatest contemporary actor. Much loved, much respected, yet not remotely pompous or precious. In my view, had he been born in Barnsley and not Burnley, he'd have been perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Ian Mckellen.
And now I get round to you. All right, it's nice to see you. You know, they played that song when I got my knighted.
Well, they play what?
But when you go and get knighted, you wait. There's a little band in the Minstrels Gallery playing tunes from the shows, and when I got knighted, they played that tune. Isn't that An Actor's Life for Me?
It is indeed. Yeah, hi diddly-dee.
Yeah.
And it's from a Walt Disney film.
And when I got my CBE, they played When I'm Cleaning Windows. What is that?
Are they very impressed in America, from whence you've lately returned, by the fact that you are a knight?
Yeah, they're very impressed and very confused at the same time. Most of them think I'm a lord and now related to the Queen, and I don't disabuse them. But you do fall down the bump when you arrive through customs. I arrived at Heathrow fresh from the Oscars. I'd been seen by 1 billion people all over the world, and I was signing a few autographs across America, and I arrived in London, and it stopped because as I went through the Green Channel, I was beckoned over by a couple of heavies, and I had to take out everything that I'd brought back from America, and I kept saying, I'm just back from the Oscars, you know. So I opened up all the cases, and they said, well, you don't seem to have much with you. Your cigarettes, yes. What? Any gifts? Oh, I said, yes. You know, when you're up for an Oscar, you get a lot of gifts. Well, you do. I was offered a mattress for a start.
A mattress?
A mattress company who was sponsoring the Oscars said I could have a mattress. Did I want a king size or a queen size? A stupid question. I said, I don't need a mattress. I've got an emperor at home. So, lots of jewellery, a couple of watches, there's one of them, a couple of alarm clocks, lots of makeup. And this suit, which I'm wearing tonight, which I had made for me by a tailor in Los Angeles. And the customs pounced on this and said, how much would it cost if I'd bought it? And I said, well, I'm not in the habit of asking people to give me things how much they cost. So they impounded the suit. I said, I've got the opening of my movie, Gods and Monsters, for the Prince's Trust in the West End. I've got to wear this suit. I said, I'm going to wear it on the Parkinson show.
Now, that I don't believe.
No, I've made that up, but not the rest. I finally got it out. But the tailor had to send a fax over saying how much it would have cost.
It's extraordinary, balmy. You get the image, don't you, of all that kerfuffle going on with you with your suit, and as that's happening, there's some guy going back with the false boobs like you had, with tons of drugs in. You know? Yeah. Now, tell us about the Oscars, because I'm a great admirer of your performance in Gods and Monsters. I think it's wonderful. And I can't believe, I've not seen Roberto Benigni's film.
No.
But what do you think about him winning it, by the way?
Well, of course, disappointment, because you want to win it yourself, and you have to gear yourself up to the possibility that you will win, so that you don't make a fool of yourself in that 45 minutes in which you thank everybody you've ever met. Well, I think what happened at the Oscars, and it's fascinating to analyse it, and that's what goes on during the fever that takes over the whole of the stage, it seems to me, beforehand. It's a festival, it's a fiesta. The climax is the day when they're announced, but before that, everyone's joining everyone's got a point of view, everyone goes and sees the movies. It's a very healthy help to the film industry. Yes. We don't quite get it here because it all happens in the middle of the night, the climax of it. But who wins the Oscar is actually not the point. The point is everything that precedes it, which, of course, is commercial because it helps you advertise your movie and sell it. And why did Benigni get it? He's in a charming comedy about the Holocaust, believe it or not.
Well, how can you have a charming comedy
about
the Holocaust?
But I'm not here to advertise that movie, except that it does tell you that life is beautiful. And then Shakespeare in Love, a romantic fantasy about the world, won over the film about the Second World War,
Saving Private Ryan.
And I think the Academy wanted to feel good about life, and maybe I lost out to that, because Gods and Monsters is about the difficulties of living rather than what's easy about it.
It's an interesting film. It's about the story of James Whale. It's a true story about Whale, who came from England.
He came from the Midlands, yes,
Midlands,
the Black Country.
Dudley,
yes.
that's right,
Yes,
of course
yeah.
it was, that's right. And directed marvellous films in Hollywood, including Frankenstein, well, preeminently, I suppose, Frankenstein. And it's a story of him in his later life.
That's right. He directed Frankenstein, The Bride of Frankenstein, Invisible Man, the first showboat, the first Man in the Iron Mask. He was the highest paid director in Hollywood.
Yes. And he was also gay, too, and he was openly gay
Openly
at
gay.
a time in Hollywood when, in fact, it wasn't only, I suppose, illegal, wasn't it, apart from all else?
Yes, certainly frowned on. I mean, the point he makes in the movie is that nobody cares what directors get up to because they don't know what they are. But it was true then, as it's a little bit true now, that if you're an actor, the advice is don't come out. Don't confuse,
in America.
Don't confuse the public by explaining that you're gay, because they won't ever believe you're playing straight parts. Well, that's as ridiculous as saying that Tom Hanks shouldn't have played that gay part in Philadelphia because he's straight. You know, it doesn't make any sense. I think the public is much more sophisticated than the producers, really.
I think it's a fact, though, isn't it, that had you actually won the Oscar, you'd have been the first openly gay actor to have won it.
Yeah, and you've missed my speech. It was going to be quite a rousing affair.
Oh, it was going to be... Was it?
But what was...
Yeah.
There is an awful lot about the evening at the Oscars which is thrilling, and I was on the front row, and when Kazan came on, you know, Elia Kazan,
yes,
the man who'd supported the blacklist by shopping his friends during the McCarthy period,
sure,
was there being honoured by his colleagues, many of whom, of course, didn't agree that he should be so honoured, despite him having made wonderful movies. And he came on, this frail old man, supported by two heavies, Robert De Niro, the great actor, Martin Scorsese, the great director. Don't you dare cause a fuss while we're on the stage, you know,
yes,
that sense. And they both fluffed their lines. They were both extremely nervous. The old man didn't really know where he was. And the embarrassment in the audience was a treat for this observer to watch. You know, it was just a really exciting live theatre, put on TV, and on TV you didn't get the sense of the embarrassment, no, because they were very careful to keep away from those like me who didn't stand up in honour of him. And then this was a programme all in honour of film. It's odd, isn't it, that the Oscar ceremony should actually be wonderful live theatre, but not frightfully good television, and certainly dreadful movies. The only person who could have filmed that would have been Kazan himself.
Well, I mean, those wounds were deep ones, you know, because when I interviewed many years ago John Wayne,
yeah,
who similarly had shocked people, I got a cable, in those days you had cables, from Carl Foreman, saying, if you don't ask the bastard about the people he shocked, I'll never watch your show again, really? He said, yes, yeah. And I did, and he didn't like it at all. I mean, it's that awful closed part of Hollywood history, isn't it, which was open, the doors were again open when you saw Kazan up there. All right, but let's not talk about, let's talk about you. I mean, this business about, as I said, you'd be the first openly gay actor to have won the Academy Award. You came out when you were, what, 49, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's 10 years ago.
Do you wish that you'd done it before?
Yeah. I don't have many regrets about my life, but that's certainly the one thing that would have made my life better or different.
In what sense
I think better.
would it have made it better and different?
Well, I may appear, as we all appear, to be fairly self-confident people, but actors I'm talking about, only because we're speaking other people's lines and we've rehearsed what we're going to do. Many of us, like me, are sheltering from the difficulties of life by going into this pretend world where everything's all right, and if it's not all right, you can do a retake, or there's somebody there to help you. There's a prompter in the corner. Life ain't like that. And I think if I'd been confident enough to say to the world, as I always said to my friends, that I was gay, then I would have had a self-confidence that would have held me in good stead in that part of my life that wasn't organised.
Two things. When you came out, when you were 49 and declared your hand, so to speak, and said, I'm gay, I mean, it obviously freed you greatly. Did it might seem a daft question, but I'll ask it. Did it make you a better actor?
It changes you so utterly inside. I wasn't aware of the millstone that had dropped, but it freed up my emotions enormously in life. And blow me, yes, it did. It freed up my emotions on stage and in film. And
in what sense?
Well, I find I can cry now. I never could cry before, at all, you know, when the part called for it. There was always acted somehow, and I don't know. A psychologist would explain it to me, I suppose, if I asked, but it just... everything started flowing properly. I became a normal person at last. You find this odd because you've been a normal person all your life. I wasn't allowed to be normal.
No, exactly. I mean, this is... it's
but
living
now
with
I
this...
feel I've joined the human race, and
Yes.
it's wonderful.
It's living with this great secret, isn't it? That is...
It's not good. It's very bad for the soul, and
It
it's also bad for your family, who get embarrassed about it, and it's very bad for society. That's what I think. It denies an awful lot of people, sizable minority, a chance to really enter into the life of the nation, and I think that's why the laws should be changed, to make sure that people like me should be as free as everybody else.
Let us go back, though, on this theme to Hollywood. Because, I mean, here you have Hollywood still denying the fact that several leading actors that we see on the stage today, with carefully disguised by girlfriends, handbags and whatever, are in fact gay. And they're still living that lie. And it's amazing that that should be the case. And when you think even further back, and you think of the time just after Wales' film, or during Wales, the period that your film was made in, of the people there like Cary Grant and people like that who were... Marlene Dietrich.
Well, there are astonishing photographs of Cary Grant and Randolph Scott, you know, the very tough cowboy, when they were living together.
Yeah.
Sharing breakfast in their silk pyjamas with the dog that they owned in their house.
Yes.
These were publicity photographs that everybody saw and thought, oh, how charming, these two handsome young men living together, waiting for a couple of girls to make them happy. On the contrary, they were perfectly happy on their own. But that was fooling the public. No, you're right, people do still hide. There's only one star out in Hollywood, and she's who's gay, that's a woman, Anne Hesh, Ellen DeGeneres' girlfriend.
That's right.
And it was very sweet because they arrived at the Oscars just as I arrived with Sean Mathias, who I lived with for 10 years, and took along as my good luck mascot. And there was I holding hands with Sean, and these girls were holding hands. And the press went wild, and the public went wild, and they just said, to me, it seems to me, oh, thank God, it's all over. And but of course it isn't, because kids in Hollywood are still told, don't tell the truth.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, your character, of course, your Patsy, the gay icon. There were 5 Patsies at the Sydney Mardi Gras, weren't there?
It's rather... I think it's because she's tall. And no, I mean this, and because I've got broad shoulders, a chap finds it quite easy to imitate me, because I'm tall and I've got shoulders. And once you get the big yellow hair and the fag and the old glass of wine, people know who you are, and it's important if you're dressing as somebody that they can get you within a second.
I think gay men are attracted to that character, as we are attracted to you as well, Dan.
Of course.
By the fact that she's a rebel, and there are occasions when she says exactly what she thinks and doesn't give a damn, and that's what gay people would like to do, and often are not allowed to do.
Yes.
So when they see a woman doing it, they think, yeah, that's good for her. I really give her my vote.
Let's have a look at a clip from your film, from Gods and Monsters. As I said, it's you in your 70s, in your declining years. It's difficult to actually detail your character, because there are so many parts of him that are sympathetic. There are so many parts of him that are not sympathetic.
That's what's good about the
And here's a man who's actually praying, he's like some spider in his life, drawing these young men to him. And
he knows he's close to the end of his life. He's
That's
decrepit.
right.
He's had a bit of a stroke. A new gardener comes to do his lawn, and he draws him into his life, and then takes him off to a party, which is run by
George Cukor.
George Cukor, another famous film director who was a closeted gay. He wasn't truthful about it. And so Whale arrives with a little bit of mischief in his eyes to embarrass Cukor in front of his principal guest, who is the young Princess Margaret.
Very well set up, sir.
Okay.
You've done this before. Let's have a look at this. Neil said he was that guy, the gardener. He was in George of the Jungle.
That's Brendan Fraser.
That's Brendan Fraser, George of the Jungle. He's in town tonight for the premiere of Gods and Monsters, and I think he's going to be one of the great Hollywood movie stars. He's doing lots of silly films at the moment, which is fine, but he can really act. Yes, go and see it for him.
Yeah. You took Monica Lewinsky as your date.
I did, to the opening, yeah. Yes, I met an awful lot of people in Hollywood. The high spot for me was meeting Neil Simon, actually, who's written every decent stage comedy of this century that wasn't written by Alan Ayckbourn. And we discovered that we liked each other enormously. And lots of stars, Shirley MacLaine. I had a little chat with Jack Nicholson and Kevin Costner and Meryl Streep. And then there was Monica Lewinsky. And I knew all about her, and it turned out she knew a little bit about me. And she said she was coming to England. I said, what are you doing at the end of the week? I want to come to the opening of my movie. And she said yes, so she did.
Oh, great. Did she create a furore, stir in the crowd, a frisson?
Yes, but I do. Wherever I go, I don't think it was
Of course.
I think she was frightfully good for my image. I don't know whether I was very good for hers.
No, all right. So Oscars nominations didn't win, but does that mean that Hollywood offers flow in now? That you're submerged in scripts?
Well, as I was saying, the lead up to the Oscars, I think, is more crucial than the actual day itself. And without boasting, I did pick up 10 awards in the States for that performance in the last as many weeks. So there is a sense that I'm around now, and people enjoyed Richard III as well. And another movie I've got coming out called Apt Pupil, based on a Stephen King short story, which is already out in the States. So I'm now thought of as respectable. I think I've moved up that list, which is topped with Anthony Hopkins and ends with, probably always ended with me, actually. But I think I've crept up the list of English people. And thank God I don't always have to now play Nazis or indeed Americans. I can play a bit more myself.
What about you, Neil? What about Hollywood? You went there, didn't you?
Yeah, I popped over for a visit. I mean, literally, occasionally the call comes. You know, they'd heard there's a bit of a furore going on in England, and it was to do with, you know, me and the programmes I've been involved in. So I got the call to go over there, and just went and had a lot of meetings, really, which is really the boring end of the scale. You know, having lots of meetings with casting directors who are just pretending to be so nice. I watch all your movies. I said, what's strange? I've only made 2. You know, and one of those was, you know, 3 years ago, and I don't think you'd understand the accent I was using, love, you know, but you know, they're kind of a bit lush, they're a bit all over you. I'm not sure, I never sort of aspired to want to go to America to work. I mean, there's such fine work over here, so if something happens that I feel is the right job, because, I mean, like you said, there's so much dross being made out there. You know, we only get to see the really polished end of the market here. Sure. And it would be easy to get dragged into a sort of series of really crass pictures and things. When I've actually got a very comfortable, happy life over here, where I'm earning what I want to earn and doing the jobs that I like doing. And so until something, it's to say I'd go and work anywhere, you know, if the job was right. But to go to try and court this Hollywood ideal and to tout yourself in America, to me, is nothing more abhorrent, you know.
What about you, Joanna? Did you ever imagine yourself as the sort of Hollywood film star?
It's too late for me even then. You know?
Oh, nonsense.
No, the truth of the matter is that America is absolutely filled with gorgeous, talented people who take classes every day for 6 hours, tap dance, do singing. They're desperate to be in movies. Why on earth would they pick on an Englishwoman? All I would play there would be bitchy nannies or sort of servants. I thought you'd say butlers, because we're usually butlers or bad people. And you just think, well, there's no point in going over there and begging in a long line to try to be a butler or nanny.
Yes.
But we are lucky. We're lucky as immigrants if we do get caught up in American show business. It could be on Broadway, you know, the other end of the continent. To have home to come back to, if you're American. You've nowhere to go back to. And they're all, of course, longing to come over here to work in the West End, as we've noticed recently, and indeed work in British movies. So many American movies are made here.
Yes.
No, you're right, Neil.
I have noticed a difference now. For the first time I was asked to do a picture. Danny DeVito asked me to play his wife, which was an American part in a film, which then didn't come about. But I auditioned in an American voice to play an American woman. That was the first time for me.
Yeah, I met the same people that you were. I was
you?
there a few weeks after you were with
were
the same cast of people. And I was offered the part and turned it down. I showed them the photographs and that was it. No, but it's true, I did meet those people.
The joke is I'm actually going to play the part.
You're going to play the part, yes.
I'm actually going to
doing it now.
All right, well Ian, thanks for coming, and all the best with the film.
Thank you.
I hope it gets a proper release, and I hope it's a BBC film too.
It's a BBC film.
Yeah.
We have, I think, really good distributors here, Flashpoint, who are going to make sure put a lot of money behind advertising it and so on. And I'm very glad you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it immensely, and it's nice to go to a movie house and sit there and actually be treated like a human being, like a grown-up adult. You know,
Yes,
and,
exactly.
It's just that it's a good movie, and it's funny, and it's sad, and it's interesting too. In that I'm starting a new conversation here, but what's poignant to it about me is that business about these damaged people who came out of the First World War, and that's really what he was, wasn't he?
Exactly.
There was a generation.
You
of those
wouldn't
people,
think there was another interesting story to come out
no,
of the First World
I
War,
know.
but this is one of them.
And I'm fascinated by that.
And the thought that Frankenstein, that the icon of Frankenstein's monster, should have come out of the experience of a man who had not that long previously had survived the First World War and seen people dying in a desolate landscape, which he recreates in the Frankenstein movie, is a very illuminating gloss on the whole of that story.
We'll go see it.
I hope so.
Sir Ian Mckellen, thank you very much indeed.
you.
Sir Ian Mckellen. From all of us here. Very good night. Good night.